Photoshop has the ability to place a linked or an embedded smart object. An embedded smart object has no connection with the original source image once it's placed into Photoshop. On the other hand, when you add a linked smart object to Photoshop, that linked layer is still connected to the original document. So let's choose File and then Place Embedded. I'll select the match.psd and place this. I'll change the width and height to 50% by typing in 50 and then Tab and then 50. In order to apply that transformation, I'll tap the Enter or the Return key, and then, using the Move tool, I'll reposition it over to the left-hand side of the document. If I want to edit the contents of the smart object, I can double-click in the thumbnail on the Layers panel, and I'll turn off the orange and the yellow flame. Then I'll select File, Save, and then File, Close, and we can see that that has been updated in the parent document. I'm going to choose File, Save As, and save this document as Clouds with Flame. I'll save it as a PSD or a Photoshop file with the layers and click Save. When I return back to Bridge, we can see that the original match.psd file has not been updated because I placed an embedded file, so there's no link back to this original. All right, let's click on the boomerang to go back to Photoshop. And this time, I'm going to choose File and then Place Linked. I'll select the match.psd file. This time, when I transform it down, I'll click on the link icon between the width and height. That way, when I type in 50, the height is also going to change. I'll tap Enter or Return in order to apply that, and then, with the Move tool selected, I'll reposition it to the right side of my image. In order to edit the contents of this smart object, I'm going to double-click on the thumbnail in the Layers panel. But before I do that, I want to point out that the linked smart object has a different icon than an embedded smart object. So I'll double-click on the linked smart object and make a change. I'll just toggle off the visibility of the orange layer. And then we'll save this and then close it. Sure enough, it's been updated in the parent document. I'll go ahead and save the parent document as well by choosing File, Save, and then when we return to Bridge, we can see that not only has it been updated in the parent document here, but the linked file was also updated. Let's return back to Photoshop, and I'll close this document. Then I'll return back to Bridge and open the match.psd. I'm going to edit this file. I'll turn back on the orange flame, and I'll turn off the yellow flame. Then we'll save these changes, and when I return back to Bridge, we can see that that image has been updated. But this document has not. Photoshop won't automatically update a linked smart object within a document. However, if I double-click to open the cloudswithflame.psd and we look at our Layers panel, Photoshop is warning me that the linked smart object has been updated. If I want to update this, I can either right-click and choose Update Modified Content, or from the Layer menu, we can choose Smart Objects and Update Modified Content. If I'd modified multiple layers, I could update all modified content at once. Then I'll choose File and Save. If I need to hand off this file to another person and the file has a linked smart object in it, I'll want to make sure that I hand off both the file and the linked smart object. In order to do this, I'll choose File and then Package. I'll create a new folder. I'll call this Flame in Clouds and click Create. I'll select Choose, and then when we return back to Bridge and I double-click to open the Flame in Clouds folder, we can see that there's a folder in there with the original PSD file as well as the linked smart object. And that's the difference between linked and embedded smart objects in Photoshop. If you're interested in learning how to use Creative Cloud libraries and link smart objects, we'll cover that in the Libraries chapter later in this course.